Hi, this is Steve Kafka again. I'm going to show you an old technique called wet on wet, where you brush on the one-shot enamel and then you airbrush while it's still wet. You airbrush right on top of it. It's a very, very durable process. You don't need to clear coat. All you need to do is wax it. I'm using one of our new Harley Davidson tank molds. It's very flexible and very light. Painted it black, and I've laid out a flame design. And I'm going to letter this on there, or stroke this on there, with one of my new number 6 liners. And I'm using just orange. I've got some mineral spirits in my little can here, and then I've got right here lacquer thinner. All the paint's been pre-mixed. This is my orange that I'm going to use. I've mixed 2 colors to do the airbrush work with. I'll be using the workhorse of the industry, which is used to be a Pache VL. Most of my friends use a Wada. I've never even tried one. This is what I've been using for 30 years. I've got it hooked up to an AirPro compressor, and we're probably running between 10 and 12 pounds of pressure. I've also mixed up my outline color because I'm going to outline these flames when it's done. I have these on my own motorcycle, and they're very, very durable, and I get compliments from them all the time. This is Fire Red, which is going to be my dark highlight color. And then I've got Chrome Yellow, which is going to be my light highlight color. We're going to take a break after I get all the airbrush work done. You don't even need to mask this. This is what's one of the beautiful things. You take what's called a microfiber cloth, and you spray it with Windex, and you wipe it down, and the paint will only stick to where the wet paint has been brushed on. You're going to find this very useful, and it's a great money maker, especially at motorcycle shows. So I'm going to get into some paint here. You can show the paletting. And a little bit of blues playing in the background. I hope it's not too loud. This is a quick way to do flames. Normally, to do a flame job on a Harley Davidson, such as this indicates, these are called Fat Bob tanks, you would be looking at $5,000 to $6,000. That's to paint the black, clear coat, color sand buff, with all your outlining underneath clear. This is right up on top. So I'm going to start right here. I'm not concerned about the tips just yet, but we will be, believe me. You'll be able to do these at a motorcycle show or a car show. You'll need pictures of your work so you can show them what you're going to offer. But these are real old school type flames, none of the true fire stuff. We're not trying to sell that here. Been doing this for a number of years, kind of testing it out, and I think we're ready to go with it. I just showed Monty Roach how to do this the last time he was down here, and he's been doing a little bit of it up in Minnesota. You don't have to sand the tanks. All you do is prep it. This has been prepped with just an average wax and grease remover. Make sure you get good coverage. You don't want to have any holidays left. Even when the paint is light, like you can see some dark spots here. Just kind of go over them a little bit. You've got actually some good time to do this too. You could do a whole bunch of panels and then come back and do your airbrush work. And then when we're done, I'm going to show you this, but when we're done, we're going to wipe this down and all the overspray will come right off. I'm going to flip the tank around just for the purposes of getting these tips where I want them. Now don't forget, we're going to outline these. You can paint right over these Omnichrome pencil lines. Okay, so now I'm going to load the brush up and come around the front. It'll be very, very rare that you'd lose a hair with these brushes. They're very well made. We've had them out for over a year now. People that have them absolutely love them. They're synthetic and natural hair. Okay, so I'm going to come back this way just so the camera can see. Kind of staying up on the tip of the brush right here. You can use whatever colors you'd like, but these have been successful for me. It's just regular orange, which is the same as a factory Harley pinstripe when they're using orange. This is sign painting enamel. I don't know about the urethane striping paints or anything like that. I don't use them, so I don't really concern myself with them. I don't have any problem clear coating over this. I guess if I could turn it like this so the camera could see it. My wife Pam is filming today. Lily's in school. So we're hoping the phones don't ring in the office. You should be able to do the whole job at a show. Front fender, panels on the sides of the tank. Sometime you'll want a panel on the top of the tank too. You charge for each one separately. Again, this is called wet on wet. All the sign painters out there will know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't, now you will. I usually try to run, on a design like this, I try to run as many licks, or these pieces we refer to as licks. There's 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom, so this is a 6-lick flame design. You know, I really don't know how long this took me. I don't have a clock on me or anything. But that's a pretty quick time to lay out a set of flames. So now I'm going to wipe the excess paint out of the brush, clean it in lacquer thinner, over here, and then finish it in mineral spirits, and then I'll put some oil on it before I put the brush up, but it's nice and clean. I'm just going to lay it down. I'm going to turn on the compressor, which is a Air Pro, and in the business a lot of us on the road will just use this tube coming out of a VL rather than mix up a whole bunch of paint, and we work right out of the cups. The first color I'm going to use is this fire red. I'm going to add a little bit more thinner to it. It just seemed a little bit heavy for me. And you can pick the paint up. See the paint coming out? Now I've got just enough paint in this tube so that I can do my airbrush work. Watch. And I would imagine that I've never tried it, but I'm sure you could use the one-shot pearls for this. It'd be kind of a neat approach. See, now I'm out of paint, so now I just do this, and I got more paint. And you can I'm just showing you how this works. You can experiment on your own. I'm thinking this would be really, I know it's great on flat motorcycle tanks. You have to be very careful because it's a little bit more difficult to get off. Okay, and that's all. I'm going to backwash the brush, the airbrush, and then finish it in a little lacquer thinner. Clean it up. Now I'm going to hit it with my yellow. I'm going to give it a little stir here. See how you can see how thick it is. It's pretty watery. And work that right back into the like I said, it's very, very durable. I've been running mine for over a year now on my Harley. I wax it every so often. can even blue tip these if you want. I'm not going to do it. Okay, now one more time with the fire red. I've always done this with my flames, is put a little bit of, I don't know, I don't want to step on Mike LaValle. It's not true fire by any way, shape, or form, but it just gives it a little bit more realism. I like more subtle kind of fading. And all this overspray, especially on an automotive finish. This is not an automotive finish. This is just Rust-Oleum. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you're not going to get a lot of guys painting their bikes with Rust-Oleum. But I'm going to leave it like that. Now we're going to shut the camera off, and it has to set for half hour, 45 minutes. And then I should be able to come right back and wipe over the whole thing with Windex and a microfiber cloth, and it'll look like it was masked and then airbrushed. And I'm going to reiterate how durable this stuff is. It's as durable as One Shot is, which is, you know, it's exterior sign enamel. We're still working on an additive for One Shot to increase its opacity. Ever since they took the lead out, it's kind of been lacking in that area. I always put my cap back on my airbrush so I don't bend the needle. Alright, we're going to take a break now, and I'll come back and I'll wipe this down, and then I'm going to outline it, and it'll be a finished, done deal. The customer can drive off with it. Tell them to put some polish on it in a few days, and everybody's happy. And it didn't cost him $5 grand. It cost him maybe, for this side, maybe $100 and a half, $125. I get $75 just for the outline. So I'm going to take a break now, and we'll come back in about 45 minutes. So stay tuned. Okay, so I'm back after, to be honest with you, it was about 20 minutes, but depending on what part of the country you're in, we have no humidity here. It's 103 degrees here in Phoenix today. And I put this out on the top of my car, and it's pretty dry. It's still a little tacky, you can feel it. But for the purposes of doing this demo, and because I need this, because I'm headed to a show day after tomorrow in Ruidoso, New Mexico that I've been doing for 34 years, and I'm going to offer this. So I got my microfiber cloth, where you can buy them at any chain, I guess, sells them. And I sprayed it. Now I've already done the bottom section. I'm just going to wipe the whole thing. And you can see right here where it's pulling the overspray off, and it won't hurt any of the other paint. It's just a great technique. And you see these lines, how they're a little flaky? I'm going to fix all that when I outline it. But I'm going to wipe the thing down. Some people spray the piece, and I don't care to do that. I just soon not do that. I want to keep more control, I guess. You can see how it breaks it right down. Now see, I'm thinning the paint to do the airbrush with just cheap lacquer thinner that you get at Home Depot. This stuff right here. I use it to clean with. Clean my brushes. I always got this with me. But I also thin my paint and airbrush with it on top, on a wet-on-wet situation. So that paint's all dry now. So I won't have any issues. Plus it's not a big heavy buildup anyway. And this is just, it's just so much more cost effective. I mean, you don't have to worry about clear coats and urethanes and things lifting, and I mean, it just alleviates a lot of baloney. And you can still give somebody a really pretty flame job. Now, if they're the kind of person that, oh, it's got to be buried and clear and I don't want to feel any of the lines, this isn't for them. But you're also talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars cheaper. This is very, very cost effective. And a guy can get a custom flame paint job on his motorcycle. That's what I'm specializing in. I can see this on one of the, and I know some of you get offended when you say rat rod, but I had a rat rod when I was a kid. But I painted it. See how you can just rub right up to the line that you hand stroked on. And it's what it is, it's the alcohol in the Windex that's taking the paint off. I think it might have been, I don't know for sure, but it might have been John Hannican that told me about this idea years ago. John and I used to do hundreds of shows together. It was a blast to work with him. I've worked with all the greats, all of them. For all intents and purposes, a great bunch of guys. Okay, so there's a flame job. I'm going to clean it up a little bit more, but you can see what I've got going here. And I'm going to wet up. I've pre-mixed a little bit of imitation gold, just a small thing. Now it's hitting the paint here, so I've got to be careful. Okay, so now I'm going to start my outline. And you do this on the motorcycle, so you'll be working like this, doing your outlining, and this won't move. This piece will move when you're trying to work on it, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. So I'm going to get some thinner on my brush. Some paint. Watch how I load the paint, because some of you seem to be having problems loading the brush. I think a lot of you try to overthink this, and it's very, very simple. This is just a number 3 scroller. It's a relatively new brush. I think I just opened it last week. I want a little bit of drag, but I want it to be smooth when I'm putting it on there. And this is just going to bring this out a lot. Let's see. Hopefully I can get that to stay still. Like I said, this is an old school outline, or an old school flame lick. This is they were very reminiscent of the flames on the California Kid. which was incidentally the very first car that I ever laid a paintbrush on at a car show as a young striper up in Bangor, Maine after the movie. To say I was nervous would be a total understatement. But that's what these flames remind me of. Simple two-color fades. I do pearl-based candy-colored flames. Well, I've done a bunch of them on big semis and hot rods. But I've come up with kind of an off-white color that I think looks good on this old stuff. As far as what you charge, you got to charge what you think's fair, what you need. I get $125 to do this on the side of a motorcycle, and it takes me about an hour to do both sides. So that's $250 an hour. I can live with that. I'll be honest with you, it's easier to do this when it's on the motorcycle. This moves every time you touch it. It shakes. So I'm going to start here and cover that little. I'm going to turn it towards the camera. You can see where this is going. And the fades are real subtle. It's exciting when it moves like this, believe me. Those of you that don't know, I just got a call this morning from Lyle Fisk. He's back in San Diego. He got some family issues, so he had to move back from Florida on his retirement. He's one of the greats from Southern California, and a very dear friend. This will put a grin on a customer's face, though, honest to goodness. It's one of those things that they're fun to do. There's really good money in it. And you can give the customer a lot of value for what they're spending. So we're going to call this wet on wet flames. As I said, they're extremely durable. I mean, you got to be careful about spilling gas on them and stuff, and you can tell the customer that too. But not forever. I mean, they'll be very, very durable in a month after you've got some good wax, a couple of good coats of wax on it. And you know, in the event that they do mess them up, you can well imagine how easy they are to fix up, or to do a touch-up, or if they chunk a piece out of it. The wet-on-wet technique also works if you are if you want to put something over an existing piece. You just hit it with clear. I'm going to try this here. These flames are very reminiscent of Pete Shaporis's California Kid. Okay, so you can see what I've gotten done, and this is the whole time frame on this was pretty fast. It's pretty rapid, but there you go. That's wet on wet flames, 2-color airbrush. I don't have an Awada, so someday maybe, but there you go. Good luck. Try it. You'll love it.